Hello, my name is Dave Persons and I'm pastor at the Wayside Presbyterian Church in Hamburg, New York. So what would be your response if someone came to you and asked, who are you? And what are you doing here? Especially if they were religious officials and leaders. For the legendary John the Baptist of the first century records in the early Christian writings, he said that he was just a voice crying in the wilderness, preparing the way. And what he was really saying, according to the writings here, that he was preparing the way for one to come after him, whom he named Jesus, who was really much more of that great master teacher than he was. So he was not that ultimate light, but he was to bear witness of that coming light after him. Thus to prepare the way, or to make the way understood, the way to life and peace and purpose in life. That's what I see myself as, and I look upon all of you as that kind of potential. Yes, we might not be, as they say, fully realized in our awareness of who we are as God's sons and daughters, but we all have that potential. We all have that ability to express it. And the way that we get there is by looking at someone like Jesus, or perhaps a beloved teacher or a pastor, or someone that you have known who emulates that kind of peace that you can call upon as an older brother or sister to help lead you to that path. I may be able to give you certain kinds of medical advice if you come and ask me with a particular health issue. But I probably would have to defer to a doctor, a certified doctor, one who has at least been recognized as giving reliable, helpful information over a period of many years. The same way with Jesus. Jesus is that model of the one who has reached there. And how do we know that? But because of many of the sayings of his in those early church writings. His compassion for the poor and the outcast, and the way that he showed forgiveness to those who could not experience it in their time. The way that he also showed sympathy even to those who were wealthy and those in power, and confronting them when they needed to be about being fair to those who were poor. Now, how does one get there? Well, it comes through practice. It takes time to go from a sense of not having any purpose or not really being connected to God to the place where we sense it and feel it and can live out hourly in that kind of awareness. But it comes through listening, practice, reading sacred scriptures, going on a retreat, attending prayer meetings and meditation classes, doing yoga, all these things that can be used to enhance our awareness. Of course, we must remember that if we force feed it, then we can become quite sick. If you were to go on a retreat, which was supposedly to be the prayer spiritual retreat, the charismatic retreat of all meetings, and you came back, you might find yourself in depression and perhaps even getting sick. We got some new premium food a few days ago for our little dog. It was food that was purported to be without any chemicals and was all organically grown and would really make the dog healthy and live longer with less problems. But there was a little note in the top of the box of food which said, "Caution, if you're not feeding your dog premium food, then you must mix it and share it over a period of time slowly so the dog won't get sick." Same way with ourselves. We're on this life journey learning peace and learning to share peace. But if we try to learn it too quickly and don't allow ourselves to take time to rest and to digest it, we too can get quite sick. When they came to John the Baptist, these leaders recognized that he was one that was far along in his path toward that higher self-realization. They thought perhaps he even had been Elijah or one of the great prophets. In those days, reincarnation was quite acceptable, understanding that most of us go through many life cycles of coming to a fuller awakenedness to who we really are as God's children. So don't be discouraged if you don't get there today or this year or next year or perhaps even in this lifetime. just remember that your higher self is always one with God, your Creator, and nothing ever can separate that from you and from your awareness if you but remember it. Yes, you may not always feel it, but it is always there. Now, having the awareness and practice at it, and then we just seek to do deeds of kindness to others. We try to start with our families, which in many of our lives is the number one laboratory. How we respond to our spouses and to our children and to our siblings and our parents, how we treat them. Even if they don't treat us fairly, can we treat them back with forgiveness and fairness and with compassion? These are our primary ways that we really live out what we have been trying to train our mind to do. We do it with community organizations. We do it with perhaps religious organizations and committees. Sometimes the egos and anger are the sharpest as we work within religious organizations. I've been a member of religious organizations for over 40 years now, working as a professional. And I can attest, I can assure you that there's much anger and frustration among people who've tried to make a profession of faith for many years, but somehow it's just never really sunk in and become such a part of their consciousness that they can treat others with compassion and fairness and forgiveness, even when they are treated unfairly and sometimes with ridicule. So be patient with yourselves. Remember that you are God's son and daughter, that nothing can take that from you. Only your forgetfulness can take away the experience of that deep peace. May you have peace today during this season of Advent, as we live in an era of a lot of uncertainty and question and fear about our future, fear about our financial futures, fear about our country's future, fear about our vocational futures. For some of us, questions about our retirement securities in the future. But let us remember that God takes care of us. We are one with God as His children. And whether we live or whether we die, we're always God's. Let us today have that peace and experience that peace as we become quiet, as we reflect and meditate upon it, and as we share that message and that practice with those around us. May God bless you with peace.